entirely, but the good news is I'm gonna keep you around, and so your lust is just convenient now. Crack open a bottle of red.
Hey guys, Tim here, Geeked Up Gaming Review Group. I'm going to show you guys a game that's been out for a while, and it's a very popular game to play in the hallways at Gen Con, and it's called Are You a Werewolf? Now there's no way for me to actually show you guys how to play the game, but hopefully I can get like a small clip during Gen Con, and I'll show you guys that in another video. But for today, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and show you guys the package of how this one is, and I have other versions of this, but this is the, I believe, like the very first copy of the werewolf. And it's a game of deception, paranoia, and mob rule. Are you a werewolf? And it's a really cool concept, and it's a really popular game. I've said before it's not one of my favorite games to go to, but you know, it's something that people play in the hallways at Gen Con, and I love meeting new people, and this is definitely the game to do it, because then you also know how tricky the new friends you've made can be. So let's go ahead and go over to the package. It's not really a box, and I'll show you how that unfolds and why I don't think it's really a box, and show you some of the characters and cards, and tell you about their abilities, and then I'll share how I feel about how it plays. Alright. Okay, so this is the package they come in. Not exactly a box. So you would open it up and find the cards inside. You turn those flaps in, this flap in, and then that would be your package. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you guys how to play to the best of my ability, because I don't have enough people to actually show you the game. So you would pass out the cards face down. I don't think I'm going to be able to get all of them in here. So this is how it would look. Everybody would be, their cards hidden. But for me to know where everything's at, because I don't have people to tell me who they are, we're going to have them face up. And my werewolves are all together. So I'd be the moderator. I'm going to take this out of here just to clarify that that doesn't get played in there. Okay, so I would say, alright, everyone asleep. So everyone would be asleep. And this is just for the moderator to find out who everybody is. I'd be like, werewolves wake up. So the werewolves would wake up. I'd be like, okay, so that's where you're at. Alright, werewolves, go to sleep. Obviously figure out who you are, blah blah blah. Look at each other's faces so you remember, but with them being all three together, it's kind of hard to forget. Seer, wake up. Oh, that's not the Seer. Seer, wake up, which is right next to werewolves. And usually when you're the Seer, you're going to pick the right person and left person to check, but right now you don't get to check anyone. Okay, so moderator says, everyone wake up. And while you're doing that, you're going to be slapping. While everyone's asleep, slap your leg, everything. And most people, you can find people that have played this. It's a very popular game. Okay, I'm going to put my moderator in the beginning, in the middle here. So, everyone's going to be talking, chit-chatting, saying whatever, getting to know each other usually. That's why the first round takes forever. But sometimes you'll have that moderator that says, oh, okay, you only have 5 minutes. Okay, well, yeah, okay. I guess put a time frame on it because it keeps the games quick and everything. Because this says 20 to 60 minutes. I've played Werewolf for about 3 hours with one group. Reason being is because there's a lot of negotiating and why you're a werewolf, why you're not a werewolf, you know, who's your werewolf buddies and who's not, blah blah blah, stuff like that. And it becomes longer than 60 minutes, so don't go by what the box says. If it says 60 minutes, they're lying. Anyways, so I would say, okay, so we would need a lynch, so this is the first round, and they pick to lynch off this villager. And how that works is everyone would it would be majority vote. Everyone would be like, villager. And if you're a werewolf, you're automatically boom. As long as it's not your dude, just go for it. And be like, yeah, okay, so that person got lynched off. That's what I hate about the first round. That someone innocent got lynched off. They were a villager, not a werewolf, and they probably had a beard, and that's why they got lynched off. But anyways, I have a lot of negative things to say about this game. But if I make it to the second round, I love it. If I get lynched in the first round, I'm severely PO'd. Because I didn't even get to play. It just got eliminated. Like, I got to tell the moderator I was not a werewolf and not a seer. But usually when you're a werewolf, you're going to make it pretty far. It's really hard to find the werewolves considering there's only 3 for however many people. But anyways, where was I? Yes, they lynched someone. Okay, so now what sucks about that also is that they lynched a villager, and now everyone gets to go to sleep, and now the werewolves are going to eat another villager, so that's 2 people out. Okay, so everybody goes to sleep. And to simulate going to sleep, I'm going to flip the cards over. And it's kind of convenient that the seer, werewolf are all together. Moderator never goes to sleep. He's controlling everything. Everyone's slapping their legs when they go to sleep. Anytime you go to sleep, slap those legs. Or one leg, or slap the floor, bang your head, punch your partner, whatever you want to do. As long as you're making noise, and that just... So when the wolves lift their head, or the seer lift their head, there's not that small little rustle that they hear, and gives them away, so that's just something to keep noise that way. Noise out and everything. So now we're going to go and say, seer, wake up. We'll let the seer go first. Why not? Seer, check someone. So usually when you're the seer, you do want to check left and right. So let's say the seer checks left first. Werewolf. Alright, so seer knows there's a werewolf right next to her or him, and they're freaking out. Oh, shaking. Oh no, werewolf. Okay, so anyways, the moderator says go to sleep, seer. Alright, so seer's asleep, and don't forget, keep slapping your leg when you're the seer and you look up. Make sure you keep that constant beat. People like to pick up on that and just say, oh, I heard this across the room, and first time you guys play this, you're going to be like, okay, this game is really dumb. Play it a few times, learn the game, you will have fun with it. Alright, so moderator's like, hey, werewolves, wake up. So the werewolves wake up. And if it takes them a long time to pick, you know that there's either 2 or all 3 are trying to be alphas and trying to pick who they want to pick out. And usually, if you let one of them lead and just be recessive, they're going to pick someone that they know they need to get out because they're really good at picking who the werewolves are. And if I'm giving you guys some strategy here, you know, take it. If you don't want the strategy, that's fine. I'll just give it to you anyways. I've played this a lot. I'm not a professional. I don't think anyone's really professional at werewolf. It's just a chance, really. It's like rolling dice. Say, roll dice, I pick, and it rolls on 6, so you pick the 6th person. That's basically how random it is. But when you're a werewolf, you have a big, huge advantage because you know everybody else is asleep and doesn't know who you are, but the werewolves know who they are. And I feel like that when I'm a werewolf, it's way easier for me to play. When I'm a villager, I don't know how to talk my way out of being lynched off. But anyways, okay, so the werewolves, they're like, okay, let's pick somebody. So they pick somebody, usually, if for strategy reasons, pick someone right next to you. Because it's human nature to point across the room. To be like, oh, away from us. No, do it right on top. But for this, we're not going to take a seer out. We're going to go ahead and say, we picked this villager here. Werewolves, go to sleep. Now, if it takes that long, as far as me talking, that's when you know that there's a couple alpha werewolves in there. And the people that are talking the most are being very persuasive are usually an alpha person. Now, moderator says, alright, everyone wake up. So the seer knows that this is a werewolf. So we'll go ahead and wake everybody up. And the moderator will say, alright, Billy, I'm sorry, but you've been eaten last night. So that person is out, they're dead, they have no more persuasion on the game, everyone moves in. And everything I'm doing with the cards is simulating exactly what's going to happen. And then the moderator, usually if they're that close together, the moderator will start walking on the outside and picking off who it is. I try to stay in the center as much as I can as a moderator, but usually it gets so crowded here that I have to get to the outside. Okay, so right now it's 3 werewolves and technically 5 villagers. Now if it ever gets to 3 and 3, it usually gets bad. Okay, so anyways, the seer knows that this is a werewolf. Nobody else knows that it's a werewolf, but the seer's like, hey, I think this guy's a werewolf. He's putting off some crazy vibe. He's got a beard. He smells bad. Whatever that may be, the seer is going to be like, hey, I'm giving you a bunch of stuff here. Usually if there's a bunch of static right here, then you're going to be like, okay, so they might be the seer. But then again, it could be a werewolf talking their way out. So anyways, everybody goes with it and they're like, oh, okay, that's a werewolf. So majority votes. Even the werewolves are like, alright, let's throw this dude under the bus. Boom! Alright. And then the moderator say, you have found yourselves a werewolf. And everybody's like, yeah! And you'll probably hear some swear words like F yeah and everything like that. So they take out a werewolf. That werewolf is out of the game. Now, a buddy of mine, when he plays this, and if I'm on his team, I'll go with it. And we try to get whoever else is on board on as far as being a wolf. We will eat one of our own. And it completely throws off everything that everyone ever thought, and it's crazy. But my buddy will also make you think that you're a werewolf when you're a villager, or the seer, and you know who the werewolves are. Anyways, so they went with it, but now the werewolves are thinking, that person thought we were a werewolf, and now, so everybody goes to sleep, everybody's slapping their legs, and now the werewolves, well, let's first, moderator says, seer, wake up. Seer picks. And they go ahead and check their right side. Villager. Okay, so seer, go to sleep. Alright, werewolves wake up. Now the werewolves are thinking, okay, this person completely just took out one of our werewolves. So what do? They pick this person, most likely. Whoever is the most persuasive, and if you pick up on it. There's a lot of stuff that you won't pick up on when you play it the first time. But you start feeling around on how people play this game. Okay, so it's 5-2. Okay, well they just picked the seer. The moderator, alright, werewolves asleep. Everyone wake up. So everyone wakes up. Alright. And then the moderator says, well, I'm sorry to say, villagers, but your seer has been eaten. So the seer cannot say anything about who they know what is what. They are out of the game. Now the villagers are completely just on their own in complete instinct mode. They have no seer. And now the werewolves are obviously going to play along with all the regular villagers, and they're like, oh my gosh. These two are going to, I swear to you, they will be like, oh my gosh, our seer, oh no. Well, me as a villager, I'm going to be like, okay, these guys are making way big of a deal about the seer, so let's knock them out. But anyways, people usually don't do that, because when I speak out, they usually lynch me. So let's say I'm this guy, and they're all like, okay, this guy is really being aggressive, let's take him out, he's being aggressive like a werewolf. Okay, I like it when people play this as everyone's a human, not that, oh, he's acting like a werewolf, he must be a werewolf in the game. No, I'm just being very passionate that I'm a human, and that is another human, but they have a werewolf card. That's how I'm playing the game. But anyways, everybody lynches off, and this is where the game turns. They just killed one of their villagers. What happens now? If the villagers fail to kill one werewolf, which is what's left, they lose. Which actually, they already lost. Because now there's 2 werewolves, and they are going to win. Because it doesn't matter who they pick. Let's say they pick this guy. He's a villager. Alright, everyone wake up. Obviously it's werewolves wake up, pick a guy, werewolves sleep, but you guys have probably already picked up on that. 2 werewolves left. He dies. The game is over. Whenever it is 2-2 or even equal, then it's no. I lied because I had this scenario. Everyone, it's still a good game. If it's 2-2, the game is still going. I'm sorry, I lied. I'm gonna correct that right now. It is still alive. So the villagers, the werewolves. Now they have to pick a werewolf, and one of these werewolves is either gonna have to lynch their own dude, or they're both gonna jump on the wagon. Now, the scenario I had was us werewolves were sitting on opposite sides of each other. These two, they kept going at it. I was like, well, one of you guys has got to be a werewolf because you're both being very, very aggressive. And you're both very pleading and as soon as one of them got picked, me and this other kid just jumped on the wagon and just real quick, and then it was over. But for this purpose, let's just say, at this point I could pick whoever wants to win for my tutorial here. So I don't know who I want to win. Werewolves, you usually win a lot, so we're going to pick that you're going to lose. So everyone picks werewolves. Now this werewolf is like, no, hang on, why are you picking this guy? And then the villagers, that are real villagers, are going to be like, oh my god, they're both werewolves. They're defending each other. Blah, 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 blah. So at this point, they're like, you know what? We picked you to die. They die off. Now, okay, at this point the villagers would win. I could not find it in the rulebook. I actually had to call a friend of mine and clarify it. So, yes, the villagers would have won at this point. They would have stabbed the werewolf with their pitchforks, which you can see barely on the side of the card. Okay, so that's basically how you're going to play werewolf. There's a little thing on the back here, and I'll give you a little, I'll run down what it says. Somebody apparently asks, are you a werewolf? No, I'm not a werewolf. It's getting late. We need to lynch somebody. And I would never lie about anything like that. Who were the people who voted to lynch John? Which is kind of a big deal. Like, who voted to lynch what at what point? Okay, then, if Jake is one of the werewolves, who's the other one? I'm guessing Andy. And then, it's like going back and forth and everything. It says, hey, what was Kristen saying about Andy just before he got mauled? I can't recall. You know, Andy has been acting even stranger than usual. I think we should lynch him. Yeah, lynch Andy. Yes, I vote yes. Wait, I'm the seer. Me too. So there's only one seer, so like there's people that try to say I'm the seer, stuff like that. Don't kill me off. But if you say I'm the seer, the wolves are usually going to take you out pretty fast. So let's go ahead and go over to my conclusion of what I think about Are You a Werewolf? Even though I talked about it most of the time while I was showing you guys how to play. Alright, so my thoughts on Are You a Werewolf? A game of deception, paranoia, and mob rule is, it's irritating, but it's a lot of fun. Now, my suggestion, if you're playing at Gen Con, and you would think it would be more fun with a big, huge group, but if you keep it at 7 to 16 players, then it's going to be a lot more fun. Also, this is a rule conception that I didn't even know that the rules stated this. There's a hidden timer, 10 to 15 minutes. This is where it keeps the game short and keeps it going. What happens is they don't lynch anyone off. So if you can make the timer run out to that 10 to 15 minutes, depending on your moderator, they will pick the time frame. And this is a rule that I think should be enforced when we play Werewolf at Gen Con. And please share my thoughts with other people about the rule enforcement on this time frame. If it is 10 to 15 minutes, that timer goes off, then you will say there's no lynching. Everyone will go to sleep. The wolves will have their way with who they want to take out. That's a for sure thing because the wolves are going to pick somebody and just kill them off. They're going to kill herself off unless you play with us and my buddy. And, you know, it's really a lot of fun. Getting lynched in the first round, that's usually the round that you'll get away with the 10 to 15 minute mark, and it will just be no lynching. Keeping in reminder of who was lynched on what round and why or whatever sometimes helps you out, but most of this game is chance on who you're going to pick out. Now, if you're a werewolf, werewolves have the game on lockdown most of the time. Werewolves will win. It's very hard for the villagers to win this game, from my experience. There may be a set of villager guys out there that actually play a game and have villagers mostly win, but every time I've played Gen Con, you don't really know who people are, how they play the game, so that's a big deal. Playing this as a small village of 7 to 16, which is recommended, is probably what I would recommend, and using the rule enforcement, so that first 10 to 15 minutes someone does not get lynched, and the wolves will take out their people that they need to, and that probably will keep it under an hour. That is a rule that I did not know that was actually in there. So yeah, and the rulebook also states that the blank cards are made for extra rolls. Like there's the Cupid, where you make 2 people fall in love and they're linked together forever, and if one dies, they both die. And then there's the White Wolf, which is the alpha, trying to take out the other wolves along with the villagers. And there's like the Freemasons, and it's almost to the point where it's kind of ridiculous. There is a copy that just came off a Kickstarter, and I don't know what it's called, but it plays like 30 people, and that's okay. But I feel like when you play that many people, you're hunting the wolves for way too long all night, and it's a little overwhelming. So keeping it under that 20, maybe 20 would be the max, is what I would go if you have enough cards. That would be adding villagers, and you're not gonna ever. That's what happens, is you add all these villagers, and you got 30 people playing. Only 6 out of the 30 are werewolves. You're gonna be hunting all night for these werewolves, and the seer cannot go through that many people usually before getting killed or lynched off. So, which is another strategy. If you're a werewolf, you can be like, I'm the seer. Well, the other werewolves are going to know you're not the seer, so you just lied. But you may be called and get lynched out later. So it's a frustrating game, but it's a fun game if you get to play through most of it. If you guys have any ideas of how to make games actually, for the first round, not be a lynching other than applying that rule, leave your comments below. Like our video, please. And please subscribe to our channel and leave comments on all of our other videos. And tell us what you think about Are You a Werewolf? And Werewolves in Miller Hollow, and any of those other games, The Village. There's a lot of Are You a Werewolf type games out there. The reason we chose to do this one as a review is because it's the original from Looney Labs. If it's not the original, please someone correct me on that, because as far as I know, this is the original, and there's an add-on characters. But this is my favorite one because there's no extra baloney. It's completely just all ham. There's no cheap stuff in here. It's just straightforward villagers, 1 seer, and the werewolves. Now the seers are a cool aspect that they probably needed to put in there to give the villagers a type of an edge, or else the villagers would be completely lost, just running around with chickens with their heads cut off. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool game. If you guys have not played it, I'm sure this will be another thing that will be in my backpack. It doesn't take a lot of space, and I can accompany 16 players. 17 if we want to do a White Wolf and take out well, it would still be 16. But this is one of those games that I said in an earlier video that we could play and do. So that's my thoughts, and I did the best I could to show you guys how to play. And if I'm wrong on how the winning aspect came out, please leave a comment and correct it, because I wasn't for sure, and I did call my buddy and he confirmed it, that if it's 2 villagers, 1 werewolf, then the werewolves have lost. So, which it would have if it went the other way, it would have been the werewolves would have beat 1 villager. So I think it's when the one number outnumbers the other number by a certain amount of players. When it comes down to, say, 5 and it's 3 on 2, it's still a live game. But once it comes down to one or the other, if it's 1 villager or 1 werewolf, I think that's when the game ends. So the lynching definitely has an aspect on that very last deal, and then it's hard to get the werewolves to break, and when it comes down to that 2 versus 2. And when I played 2 versus 2 the last time, we just sat back and let the villagers just battle it out, and I was like, hey, one of you guys has got to be a werewolf, and I showed you guys kind of how we were sitting. It was me and then the guy across from me, and it was actually, the man and the woman were actually married, and it was their son. It was on my team, so I was the only guy out there that didn't know how they played. And then from the beginning of the game, they were always combative. I was like, these two are going to be in the very last end of it, and when they get to that end, that's when I'll be like, hey, one of you guys is trying to be alpha right now, and you're a werewolf. And I was being the smart, recessive werewolf, and we won. So we killed one of the villagers, and it came down to the 2 versus 2 on 1, and we won. Yeah, so that's my thoughts about Werewolf. I'm Tim, this is Geeked Up Gaming Review Group. Please subscribe to our video, and I think this is the right corner this time, and I didn't point to the wrong one. Yeah, and this is Are You Werewolf by Looney Labs.
In one fell swoop it became clear to me that I despise you entirely. But the good news is I'm gonna keep you